Hello, everybody. This is Alia Jamal, the love coach, and today we are here for another love circle. And today our topic is how to heal depression. And as I was preparing for this workshop, I realized how much I have grown over the last almost 3 years for Love Circle. I have taught this topic at least 4 or 5 times, but what you will get today is going to be very different, and that is a reflection of my own growth and what I have learned. So I am really excited for this conversation. So let's dig in. What is depression? Why we feel depressed, and how can you really get yourself out of it? Now, from personal experience, I have been there, done that, been depressed, been suicidal. So I do understand that this is something massive, it's major, it's big. When we are in the midst of it, we feel like there's no other way out. So, first, I want to start with just distinguishing depression versus grief. So many times we think grief is depression. Grief is treated very different if you truly want to come out of it 100%. And for those of you who know me, I am all for 100% healing and recovery. I am not the one who teaches managing your emotions. I teach healing, how to fully heal it and connect with a version of you that has no sign of who you were in the past. So if we truly want to heal grief, we will take a different route. If we want to truly heal depression, we'll take a different route. So we will start with just asking yourself, is it depression or is it grief? And I'll give you ways you can tell it for yourself. And then based on that, you can take that route. Grief usually comes from a loss. There's a physical loss. It could be a loved one died, you lost your career, your house got on fire, and grief is one of those human emotions. So, first of all, an emotion is energy that is moving. But if this is your center, and if the energy is moving based on how you're thinking, if it goes way too far, your being is just telling you you're too far. Based on how far you are from your center, that would be the intensity of emotion. So if you're feeling grief, you're thinking some things that are not aligned with your soul. And that's completely okay. We are human. We are living in a human body. We are going through a human experience. This mechanism exists. So your soul can tell you, hey, we are very far off. Can we come back to the center? So let's say you are going through a massive life change or transformation or whatever is happening in your life. It's natural to feel grief. If we give our body 72 hours to feel that grief, we will come back to our center. Yeah, life would be hard to carry on, but we can become functional. Where it becomes problematic when we have resistance to let ourselves feel it. And depending on, again, what the trauma is, what is that loss that you're going through, it might take you some time to allow yourself to feel it because you're afraid to even feel it. So it's normal. But if you let yourself feel it, you come back to your center, you can continue a normal functional life. So look at your life and just ask yourself, am I going through a massive loss right now? And divorce is a loss. Breakup is a loss. When we go through a loss, there is grief involved. When I went through my divorce and I was like, why this depression is coming back? And when the more I worked with those emotions, the more I realized it's grief. And I kept resisting to feel the grief. So it did stay for like about 6 months or so. So when we are resistant to feel the grief, we mistake it sometimes as depression. So that's all I wanted to say about grief. If you're watching this, if you're watching the recording and you think you're depressed, I really want you to question, is it depression or is it grief? Because if it's grief, it's a very different story. So this conversation is not about grief. I can maybe do a different conversation on grief. This one is about depression. So how depression feels, you sometimes you just don't want to even live. You're like, I don't want to live. I want to check out. I am done. This is too much. It feels overwhelming. You lose interest in the things that you used to like and not anymore. But depression is suppressed anger. Depression is something that accumulates over time. It's not like, yesterday something happened and today you're depressed. Depression is an underlying way of being, and then when it gets too much for your emotional body to handle, that's when you don't get out of bed. So if you can see that there's no massive, loss that happened in the past 1 month or 3 months, but you're feeling this very, very low feeling, then this is the route you will take. You will ask yourself, where have I violated my rights? Where did I sacrifice myself for someone else, for the sake of peacekeeping? Where did I ignore myself? That anger that has been suppressed, it's usually towards ourselves. We will think, I am so angry at that person, why that person is doing this to me, why can't they stop? And then the real anger is why I'm still here, why I haven't left already, why I am not fighting for my happiness. And that goes down to having a low self-esteem, having a low self-worth, or following the lineage of where everybody did the same thing, so you're doing the same thing too. So a lot of women feel depressed when they are in an unhealthy relationship. It could be at work, it could be their intimate relationship. It could be their relationship with their friends or family, where somebody is clearly violating their rights, is treating them wrong, but they want to please that person. Their validation depend on that person. Their sense of safety depend on that situation. So now they are not leaving. They feel stuck. That is the person who's going to feel depressed. But that depression is coming from the suppressed anger that is geared towards you. Why am I not standing up for myself? And the question inside our head sometimes is, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do it? So you see, we are angry with ourselves. We are turning against ourselves. That feeds into the the emotion that we call depression. And it's a vicious circle. You keep getting angry on yourself. You keep yelling at yourself internally. You stay in the hopelessness state. You stay in the doom and gloom. My life is not getting better. So what is the solution? Check out. Almost all the people who do end up attempting suicide are in that dark of a depression. But it did not start just yesterday. And sometimes it could be related to an untreated mental health issue where there was a pathology involved. Like there was a proper diagnosis that never got diagnosed, and they never got the support. And sometimes it could be just, we want to keep our family happy, so we are going to keep sacrificing ourselves. Happens with a lot of moms. We're going to keep sacrificing ourselves. We're going to put our career on the back burner because there's no room for me. I am raising kids. And the next thing we know, we are feeling so depressed. We lose interest in everything. So even though the reason is suppressed anger, the root is that the dependence on outside safety and not feeling worthy to have more from life. And if you really pay attention to that, this definition can include all of us. Somewhere in our life, we are living that energy. Maybe you're doing really good in your relationship, and then in your career, you're just living very small. Maybe you're doing really good in your career, but in your relationship, you're living very small. Maybe you're doing good in both areas. In your health, you're living very small. So this is something I never think I am above it or beyond it. I am always looking for where this energy is now in my psychology. Where is that bug? Like, if it left this area, always being aware of where it is and how you can work with it. But the very first thing, so we are talking about healing depression, the very first thing that we have to work on, stop blaming yourself, which is one of the hardest things, because we get such a deep connection with ourselves when we say bad things about ourselves inside of us. It is one of those drugs that's the hardest to get off of. This past week, I know it's Thursday, this past week I've been helping two of my clients to get off of that drug. I've been, talking to them almost every single day and reminding them, hey, you're just used to this drug, beating yourself up. And I know it's very hard to let it go. But we start this work with this understanding there's nothing wrong with you. You're already complete. You're already perfect. When you walk into the room being your inner world, with this consciousness, I'm already perfect, there's nothing wrong with me, that is when you can get to the bottom of the solution, the problem. Otherwise, you're just going to look at the mess and you're going to judge yourself even more. So that is the first thing we have to do if we want to truly get to the depth of the problem and really heal it and transform that inner world. Before we get into that, I want to just highlight our depression or depressive feeling could be very physical too. It could be because your nutritions are off. So if that is what you're feeling, really check what kind of vitamins you're taking. If you do live in more cold areas where there's less sun, vitamin D is necessary. So just putting that out there. Depression could be physical, psychological, spiritual. Spiritual, I'm going to talk about last. So now let's go into psychological. So let's say you have taken care of physical body, everything is fine, but you're still feeling depressed. The first thing where we start is realizing there's nothing wrong with you. And the second aspect would be accepting. Clearly, depression is related to our past. It's not related to our future. Anxiety is related to our future. We're worried about what will happen next. Depression is related to why didn't I act this way in the past? It's that why, that regret that we hold on to. So putting your past in front of you and just accepting it. That's what I did. That is the decision I made. I chose to stay where I shouldn't have stayed. I chose to stay quiet when I should have spoken up. Accepting it. It's okay. Our ego wants to take control. It wants to judge, but our soul accepts. So we will lean into the soul consciousness. And it's not that this is a quality or a skill that you would develop and you'll nurture. It's already here. But when we walk into the room with no judgment, with the realization our soul is complete at all time, but our physical body is going through a learning process. It's learning who it really is as a soul. So of course, some places it's not going to feel safe. It's going to get stuck. Some places it is going to look for outer validations. And it's okay. That acceptance is something that is going to start dissolving the anger. We all, for those of you who are parents, we all have been through that phase where we wanted our kid to be potty trained at the age of 2 or age of 6 months because we watched this video. So, if they can do it, I can do it too, right? And then we started doing that. And then when there was so much mess going on in the house, at one point, we just accepted our kid will get potty trained when they will get potty trained. And we let go of that burden. Same concept. And if you're not a parent, I'm sure you have seen a parent doing something so crazy and rigorous, and the nerves that it takes to go through that process. Acceptance. When you accept your past and your past self without feeling the need to change that person, that is when you start to heal your depression. That's like, taking the first layer off. Because what you're going to feel right away, a lot of burden is going to get off of your shoulders. And you're going to start feeling light because you're not holding yourself at a gunpoint all the time, energetically, not physically. But that's how depression is. It's that internal pressure against yourself. Why did you do that in the past? So acceptance is the first step. The second is take action. What actions do you need to take? Do you need to sit down and properly apologize to yourself? Do you need to go and have a conversation with someone? Because now you have accepted yourself that at that point you didn't speak up, and now you can speak up. Now you can talk to the other person with a different level of awareness, a different level of consciousness. And if none of that is true for your specific situation, what is something you can do moving forward proactively so you don't turn against yourself? And I think that is where you truly start to prevent these depressive episodes from occurring. So one of the things that I do with myself when I want to say yes to something or somebody, I take few minutes with myself and I ask myself, why do you want to say yes? From a very neutral place, not from an interrogative place. What I'm looking for, am I going for safety? Am I going for validation? Do I want to be part of the cool crowd? Like, what is my intention? What is driving me to say yes? And if I can see, like, it's completely neutral, that is when I involve my body too. Then I involve, like, body. Do you want to be part of this? And I look at all the possible case scenario. Let's say if I'm going to collaborate with someone, if it goes well, how it's going to go. If it goes bad, how it's going to go. Will I be okay? I run it very quickly in my mind just to see what kind of things will get triggered within me. And once I feel solid and safe in my own decision, that is when I'll say yes. And if I don't feel it, I am going to say no. No matter how difficult it feels, no matter what the other person is going to think about me, what they are going to think about my integrity, what my family member is going to think. Those are the things we get used to letting go. Especially if you have been in the darkness of depression. I know I have. That place is so I would say unyummy that I rather do all this work and I rather have people not like me instead of me going against myself and getting to that place again. It's almost like, you rather, but for those people watching who have either, fallen behind a grade or they had to repeat a grade, there's a lot of embarrassment involved, right? There's a lot of embarrassment involved once you go through that process. Now, everybody's younger than you. You're the oldest in the class. Once you get over that, you would make sure, because there's a little bit of pain involved, you will make sure you do everything in your power so you don't fall behind again. It's same incentive. So for those of us who have experienced, like, depth of darkness of depression, that's why it becomes so much easier to let people be upset with you than let you upset with you. And unless that switch happens within you, you won't be able to heal the depression. You can spend your whole life on antidepressant medication, trying to balance your brain chemistry. You can do that for the rest of your life. But unless you are willing to be a villain in someone else's story and you're okay with that, depression is going to keep following you because you're not going to really take action. You will accept yourself. You'll do all the internal work. But when it comes to the moment comes to be proactive in saying a no with so much love and grace to the other person and love and grace for yourself, or taking an action, going back and having a conversation with someone, when that time would come, you're going to freeze because the fear is going to take over you. So I'm just putting it out there. That is something you will nurture within you. And you can always reach out to me to nurture that within you. Now, that is really the root of psychological depression. I know we make this, there's a epidemic of depression or mental illnesses or mental health issues going on right now because we are so consumed with our surrounding, we don't even go here. We don't even go inside and evaluate how is my relationship with myself? Where am I violating my own rights? Where I am just sacrificing myself when there's no need for any sacrifice. It's not big and fancy, it is that easy. Now, let's look at also spiritual aspect of depression. Now that is something, that has been something new that I've been learning and working with, and it has opened up a lot for me. So I've been experimenting with that. I usually don't teach anything unless I have experimented with it, implemented it, seen the results, and then I teach it. So as a soul, me and you, we both came here to share our soul's light. I came here to share my light. You came here to share your light. But then for whatever reason, we are not doing that. Whether we are too busy in building a career that we thought is stable, or we are too busy in, nurturing a family, and that is more important to us, that light within us pulls at us. What about me? Like, I'm trapped here. Let me come out. Let me be shared. And we don't even look at it because we don't even know it's there. And we keep ignoring it. It's almost like there's a part of you, you're completely shut off from it, you're disconnected with it, and that part of you is getting angry with you or resentful with you. Not saying that light is getting angry with you, but that thing that I am not worthy enough to be expressed or shared. So of course it's again coming from the ego that wants to also be the part of the spotlight and share that. Not all the ego is bad. There's good ego and there's ego that limits us. The part that wants to control everything limits us, but the part that wants to go out and contribute is also part of your ego. I show up here every single Thursday, not because my soul wants to be here and, like, share the light. You all know this at a soul level. This is the ego that is saying, I have something, I can go and I can share it with someone else. One person, if I can help one person, that's good. That's my ego. That's not my soul. Because at a soul level, me and you are already equal. But I have built that connection and I'm like, who else can I share this with? So that part, when it's getting suffocated and it's getting angry, it's not being expressed, is also going to feel like you are not interested in life anymore. You don't want to get out of bed. A lot of people call that midlife crisis. Now they want to change their career, they want to change this, because most of us don't know what this is. When we start to listen to it, we create even a more big of a mess in our life. A lot of people, they're like, I think I need to go for divorce. I think I need to change my career. And the next thing they know, they got the divorce, went through the painful process, and they're like, well, I'm still feeling like that. The feeling didn't go away because the feeling was not related to other people to begin with. So what is something we can do without even creating that chaos? So first of all, I'll ask you to just look at your life. Have you violated a lot of your rights? Do you tend to not speak up and suppress everything? If that is not the case with you, then it's more on a spiritual level. You're not doing what you came here to do. And you don't have to change your career. You can do it something as on the side. But of course, you'll have to discover what that is. What is one of the way you can share your light? One of the very easy way to share your light is to sit with yourself on a Saturday and ask yourself, what are the things that I know as a knowing, as a knowledge, as a skill that can benefit someone else, another human being? Maybe your community, maybe your family, maybe your own kids, maybe your spouse. We're not talking about like, preaching what I know is right and now I need to force feed it to anybody. We're not talking about that. We are talking about something that you can add to their life. Maybe you know how to paint. You can sit with your kids and you can teach them how to paint. Maybe you can get all your friends together and you can teach all of them how to paint. Maybe just something like that. So the solution to that is sharing yourself. And I am not talking about start saying yes to every single person, to every single volunteer opportunity in the name of sharing. Me and you both have very unique light to share. The way I'm sharing the light might look different than how you will share the light. So when we start playing copycat, my friend is volunteering, I'll go volunteer too. That might not be the way you're supposed to be sharing. Yeah, you can start there, but ask yourself, what is it within me that I can share? You might be sharing by writing a book, a comic book, a recipe book. It could be something through writing. It could be something through blog post. It could be something actually physically creating something. So if you don't match the first or the second criteria and you're feeling you have no interest in your life, it could be tied to your spiritual. And when we want to, we are going to use the spiritual aspect to uplift your self-worth and your self-esteem a little bit, so you can also start addressing your psychological aspect of a depression. And that would be whenever you're looking for safety outside of you, whenever you're like, oh no, if this person rejects me, I'm not going to be feeling safe. And again, friends, whatever I teach, I teach it from personal experience, implemented it, that what I study and what I teach is not accepted by majority of the Muslim community. I'm saying majority because I still have hope. Some people are still out there who are open enough and they are curious enough that they are willing to learn and study things, and they are not like, just looking through a keyhole. And on very regular basis, I do get pushback, or I do get like, comments and letters and emails and whatnot. In the beginning, it used to bother me. Then it kind of stopped bothering me, and then it completely stopped bothering me. What did change within me? My safety went from being outside, other people liking me and validating me, to me liking me and validating me. The transition took time because in the beginning, I wasn't even aware that my safety is outside of me. My safety depends on how other people perceive me, how much they like me, how much they say, oh my God, look at Alia, what a wonderful coach she is. I didn't know that when I started this work. When those triggers started to happen, that's why every trigger is light helping us do some work within us. So triggers are good. At this point, I'm in love with triggers. The day I get triggered, I'm like, yay, I get to grow now. The more those triggers came and the more I unpacked them with the help of my mentor, and I started to learn, oh my God, my safety depends outside. Slowly, I started nurturing it within me. How did I nurture it within me? I started telling myself, Alia, I am so happy with whatever you're doing. I am with you. No matter what someone else say, I am with you. I started saying that to myself, standing in front of the mirror, looking in my eyes. I validate you. I admire you. I am with you every step of the way. That is where I started. But over time, as I grew more, I learned more. I started to realize that the light of my soul, that the light of the Creator is always with me. And that is all I need. I don't need people's validation. I don't need any medal. I don't need any special praises. All I need is the light around me. See, if the light that is around me, the light of my soul, if it leaves me, I'm dead. People are gonna, like, wash me up and bury me. So as long as that light is around me, I am safe. I'm not dead. I am safe. And that is the only thing that matter for me to get to know who I am beyond this body. That is the only thing you need to get to know who you are beyond this body. And the more you realize that, the more you focus on that, the more you embody that, you're not going to be afraid of saying no to someone. You're not going to be afraid of walking up to someone and say, hey, you wronged me 10 years ago. At that time, I didn't have the consciousness to speak up for me, but here I am telling you now what you did was wrong. By the way, one of my mentor had me do that to someone. It was not 10 years ago, it was like few months, and I had to go back and I had to do that very uncomfortable conversation. It felt so fake and weird, but afterwards I felt a rush of joy in my body because in that moment I validated myself. I made myself feel safe. I accepted myself. So what happened? Brain chemistry changed. It went from feeling depressed and angry with myself to feeling so good about myself. We are so in control of what goes on at a biochemical level in our body, but we need to take charge. Another thing, whenever you feel like seeking validation, whenever you are like, I know, Alia, you've been teaching all this stuff, and, but sometime I'm a human. I need someone to say something to me. I need that validation. Sit with your soul, sit with light, and ask light to validate you. Ask your soul to validate you. And I know it might sound so crazy, but just sit with yourself and say, like, soul, let me know I'm on the right path. And that has been my way of gauging where I'm going for past 5 years. Soul, let me know. Am I on the right path? God, let me know. Am I on the right path? Just send me something to validate that that's what's going on. And universe is going to send you a validation. You know how it's going to come? You're going to see another person who's sharing the same way you're sharing. Some random stranger is going to come up to you and talk to you, and somehow they would just say something to you that you'd be like, I have no idea who this person is, why they are saying such kind things about me to my face. That is universe speaking through a physical being in your life. I had one of the most profound experience earlier this week where I was sitting and I was like, okay, light, I need some kind of confirmation. I need a validation. And I did need a validation, so I admitted it. And the way it was provided, first I felt it energetically, and then it came in form of a physical human, so close to what I needed to see, to admit it's definitely come a sign from the universe. When we start having that two-way conversation with the non-physical part of us and the non-physical part of the universe that we cannot see and touch, when that conversation starts to happen, human become less relevant. What they say to you, how they make you feel, what you have not said to them, how angry you are about it, it starts to become less relevant because it almost feels like your energy is coming from an infinite place because light is infinite. And the more we plug into that part of us, we become infinite. That's when we start to share our light at an infinite level without being afraid. Will I be accepted or will I not be accepted? Our job is to be channels of light because me and you, our soul came here to do just that. Everything else is just part of a physical experience. So as long as we are sharing our light, it is very hard to be in a depressive state because then your channel of light, you're not worrying about someone saying a yes or a no to you or validating you or not validating to you. So if let's say you're a person who's been feeling very depressed and you're like, yeah, no, I don't have any major loss going on. I don't know what's going on. Here's something I'll share with you. Get out of your bed, go outside of the door, and just stay out. Don't come home. Stay in the mall if you're in the cold area, stay in the park, go window shopping, do whatever. How that will work. Our feet, they represent the dimension, the physical dimension that we are in right now. So there are 10 dimensions. When we look at our human body, those 10 dimensions exist. Like every organ represent very specific dimension. So feet represent physicality. If you want your physical experience to change, your feet needs to move. They need to go places. That's why people do travel. I'm not talking about the travel we do to escape our pain, to escape our life. I'm talking about travel that comes from a sense of, let me go discover how other people live, that truly come from that place of discovery and curiosity. I'm talking about that travel. When you go out of your home, you use your feet, you're outside, your physical state is going to change, your spiritual state is going to change, your psychological state is going to change. That is the easiest way to come out of the funk that you're in. I personally practice that if I wake up a day and I do have time available, but whenever we are free, that is where all the emotions come and they want to attack you. I would do my homework. I'll sit down, ask myself where everything is coming from, what needs to shift. You guys would be so surprised that, yeah, I still consider myself a new student. Most of my teachers, they have been on this journey for like 30, 40 years. And this thing is a everyday work. Even now, they share that, they forget to put themselves first sometime. They violate their own, rights. They forget it. I forget it too. There are going to be days you're going to forget it too. How fast we can come back to our center and we can accept, yeah, I went against myself and I can let it go. And now let me see what else I can do. Where else can I go? Who can I meet? What can I do to share, to be out, to create a shift in my physical reality? So that forward and active and proactive movement, that is what keeps us in a place where depression stays healed. But if it comes back, you know exactly what to do to get yourself back to your center. So I really hope that you found this conversation enlightening. If this is something you want to learn deeper, you want to heal, you want me to be by your side to cultivate the safety and self-validation within you, reach out to me. You can go to my website to book a call with me, aliajamalcoaching.com, or you can DM me if you're already connected with me. And I am so looking forward to helping you on this journey. And I will see you all next Thursday. Bye.